Old digger wife divorced me and took all my stuff. Years later, I won the lottery, but she came back and demanded I share the money with her. The divorce in 2015 cleaned me out completely. She got the house we'd only owned for 3 years, both cars including the Honda I'd bought before we even met, and $47,000 from our savings account. Her lawyer argued she deserved it because she'd sacrificed her career to be a housewife, even though she'd never had a career to begin with. I moved into a $680 a month studio apartment that smelled like cigarettes and mildew. The guy next door dealt substances and the ceiling leaked every time it rained. I worked double shifts at the manufacturing plant, 60-hour weeks just to afford ramen and keep the lights on. My parents helped when they could, but they were retired and living on fixed income. I remember my mom bringing me groceries one Saturday and crying when she saw where I was living. She tried to hide it, but I saw her wipe her eyes in the hallway. That broke me more than anything my ex had done. 5 years crawled by. In 2018, I met Molly at a community college where I was taking night classes to finally get my degree. She was a nurse working the same crazy hours I was. We bonded over terrible vending machine coffee, and the fact that we both knew what it felt like to work until your body gave out. She knew about my ex, about the divorce, about all of it, and she stayed anyway. We got married in 2020 in her parents' backyard with 20 people and a cake from Costco. It was perfect. No expensive venue, no drama, just people who actually cared about us. At 23, we had a daughter named Rosie, and a small house with a mortgage we could actually afford. Life wasn't glamorous, but it was real. Molly would pack my lunch every morning with little notes tucked inside, and Rosie would give me sticky kisses before I left for work. Then last month, November 14th to be exact, I won $2.3 million on a $20 scratch-off ticket. Molly and I sat at the kitchen table just staring at it for 20 minutes, too scared to believe it was real. We were planning to pay off our mortgage and maybe take Rosie to Disneyland when my ex's number popped up on my phone 3 days later. I hadn't heard from her in 8 years. Didn't even know she still had my number. I heard about your windfall, she said. No hello, no how are you, nothing. Just straight to business. California's a community property state, and lottery winnings are considered marital assets. I actually laughed. We've been divorced since 2015. You're not entitled to anything. Doesn't matter when you bought the ticket. You earned the money that paid for it during our marriage. My lawyer says I have a solid case. I hung up and immediately called my attorney. He laughed even harder than I did. The ticket was purchased in 2024, nearly a decade after our divorce was finalized. She had absolutely no claim to anything. Zero legal standing whatsoever. But she didn't stop. She started calling Molly's work, showing up at my parents' house unannounced, even posting on Facebook about how I was stealing from her and refusing to support her in her time of need. That's when I did some digging. Turns out my ex had remarried in 2019 to some investment banker. Big house in the suburbs, fancy cars, country club membership, the whole thing she'd always wanted. But her new husband had just filed for Chapter 7 bankruptcy after some bad real estate deals. They were about to lose everything. She called again last week, completely different tone this time. Crying, begging, desperate. I made a huge mistake leaving you. You were always so good to me and I threw it all away. Can't we work something out? For old time's sake? I thought about those nights in that studio apartment, eating 79-cent ramen and wondering if I'd ever feel like a person again. I thought about Molly, who loved me when I had nothing but debt and a broken spirit. I thought about Rosie, who would never know what it's like to have a parent who only sees dollar signs. You're right, I told her. I should send you something. She got excited, started thanking me profusely, already planning what she'd do with the money. Yesterday, she received a package from me. Inside was a single scratch-off lottery ticket, the $1 kind they sell at gas stations, and a note that said, "Good luck rebuilding your life. I did it without you." Molly asked if I felt bad about it. I told her the only thing I felt was grateful that the worst thing that ever happened to me led me to the best thing that ever happened to me. My ex hasn't called back.